You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, Internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Most writers and radio show hosts know that to connect with your fans, you need to do more than just write books or record the latest podcasts. There are many different elements that go into forming an online platform, but there are also many hidden traps. To make matters worse, solid advice on how to survive the muddy waters is scarce. In the book Hidden Traps, I talk about some of the important issues of working with an online platform, highlighting traps that could put your physical or internet security at risk or be harmful to your reputation. Are your social media posts just links with a few disjointed words, making you look like someone who can't complete a sentence? Did your new website cost you more than you anticipated? Are you leaking your personal contact details across the web without even knowing it? Then you need Hidden Traps. Hidden Traps is now available in paperback and ebook from a variety of retailers, including Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Kobo. Visit blackwolfpublications.com for more details.
If you're 85 or younger, would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-553-8687. That's 800-553-8687. Again, 800-553-8687. 687.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810. Again, that's 800-783-0810.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq. Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is. If getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now, 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
Sometimes writers feel lost, unsure why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, offering manuscript critiques and line edits through a mentoring editorial style. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services, visit blackwolfeditorial.com.
Oh, let me tell you something. I am so sick of Washington and all its works and all them politicians down there and them congressmen. I'll bet you won't find none of them congressmen signing down their electric blankets tonight. Which if they did, their secretaries would get up and go home.
We gotta do something. Absolutely. You know what we gotta do? Toga party.
Toga! 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 Toga!
I want you to kill every golfer on the course.
Check me if I'm wrong, Sandy, but if I kill all the golfers, they're going to lock me up and throw away the key.
Well, all right. It's Friday night, which means it's time for Robinson and Wright. That's right, we're back this week. I missed last week. Sorry, I was at a birthday party and didn't realize that the restaurant that we were going to be having the birthday party at didn't take reservations. We all got there at 6:30, didn't get sat down to eat until almost 9, and the rest is history. However, it was fun, and it was for a cousin of mine who's basically like a nephew who turned 18. I mean, how often do you get to see stuff like that happen? So, yeah, it was funny because we were talking about boycotts, and then I inadvertently kind of sort of boycotted my own show.
Yeah, our buddy PB pointed that out on Twitter.
So,
I don't know if you remember that.
So, yeah, I saw it. Actually, it was right after I had the same thought. I was like, I'm kind of sort of boycotting my own show. And then I saw that tweet, and I was like, he beat me to it. So I guess I won't tweet that now. Oh, yeah, it was kind of weird because I was trying to tweet stuff from the restaurant, and it would, like, hang up for, like, forever. So that's when I finally texted you and said, can you put out a tweet? And then the one that I tried to send out, like, 20 minutes before then finally went out right before you put out the one on the show account. And I'm like, oh, nice. Okay, whatever. So, yeah, but anyway. So tonight, we're mainly, I guess, from the looks of the show tweet, going to be talking about tariffs. I have to admit, that whole concept kind of confuses me. So it'll be an interesting discussion.
I personally, I've seen kind of both sides of this, and I actually got some information today that kind of helps a little bit. Tariffs have never, at least in recent history, done much to really help our economy or job market. They tend to raise prices here. I mean, if there's a tariff, like this would be on steel and aluminum, it tends to raise the price on steel and aluminum. So anything made with steel and aluminum goes up. So, and it's, I mean, honestly, that would be something that would affect my industry. Almost every bit of material we sell, the base material is aluminum or steel. So and being that steel and aluminum, the way it works with them, it's kind of like with gasoline. If an oil company says that the prices, if the oil companies say prices are going up, the prices instantly go up at the gas pump because it's a commodity. It's the same way with steel and aluminum. It's commodity pricing. So right now, I haven't looked, but I can guarantee if we went to the suppliers, say, supplying the aluminum to the companies I'm buying my material from, the companies that do the extruding for us, I would say that the prices of aluminum have probably already gone up just on talk of it. It works kind of like the stock market. And, so I'm pretty much against it. But then I did hear from a friend of mine that these tariffs won't affect Canada and Mexico, where we do get a lot of steel and especially aluminum from Canada. So it might not affect things that bad. But either way, I think a trade war is a possibility, and I don't know. I just don't see the point.
Well, I mean, I kind of see the point from Trump's perspective because he's coming at this as a businessman. The one thing that I will say is, no matter what this guy does, no matter how terrible it looks like when it starts, normally it comes out not only in his favor but in ours. Case in point, North Korea. Not too long ago, everybody was afraid that Trump standing up to Kim Jong-un and being Trump's little bullyish self, and I will freely admit that he's a bully. We know this as one of the reasons why I didn't necessarily want to vote for him. But the funny thing about it was everybody thought we were going to be glowing in the dark by yesterday, and now the mental midget of the North is like, I would really like to sit down and talk to you because you're not backing down from me and I don't know what to do.
Yeah, when, I think no matter how twisted and sick that little man is,
self-preservation.
He's got to understand. He's got to understand that he really does not want to lock horns with us.
And that's the thing. Self-preservation is key. Up until now, he's known that he could basically say whatever he wanted to do and do whatever he wanted to do, and we would talk tough and never back it up. I honestly think to this day that was why when, Donald Trump was trying to make China understand, I don't want to do this alone, but I will. I think that's one of the reasons why he threw those missiles into, I believe it was Syria when he did one of his airstrikes. He threw those missiles while he's sitting across from the one of the leaders in China. Says, I will do this by myself if I have to. And then news breaks about us bombing Syria, and the dude sitting across from Trump going, holy crap, this guy actually means it. And I mean, so, and here's my thing when it comes to Trump, because one thing that I've noticed that he does a lot, he talks, and he brings people to the table. Even if he's got to beat them over the head and drag them to the table, he brings them to the table. So I'm wondering, honestly, if some of this talk of tariffs isn't a way to broker better trade deals for America. And he's like, look, we're either going to do things my way or I'm going to tax the crap out of everything you guys bring into the country. And if you guys want to tax our stuff, that's great. I mean, honestly, as it stands right now, we can't have an all-out trade war, and everybody knows it because let's not forget, everybody's economies are intertwined now. It's not like it used to be. There can't be an all-out war, and there can't be an all-out trade war because if somebody pushes too hard, it's all going to collapse. And everybody knows that, except Trump, because he's not a politician. So they're all going to be watching what he does to try to determine how far they can push. And I think everybody but him knows if we push this too hard, it's all going to fall because it really is an interconnected spider web now. So in a lot of ways, that's one of the reasons why if you go back and you look, the last time we fought an all-out war was World War II. After World War II, the NATO summits and everybody else got together in the Western world, and they came up with this idea called mutually assured economic destruction. And they started interconnecting all of the economies of the world so that there couldn't ever be another great world war catastrophe like there was in World War I and World War II. Because if there's ever an all-out war, and even if one country completely falls, then eventually the rest of it's going to unravel. That's why everybody's freaking out about Venezuela right now. Because if it continues to go down the toilet, eventually everybody's going to go with it because we're all connected now.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's not even necessarily everybody's going to go with it, but we're all going to feel it. I can kind of go to a smaller scale. When I was working in D.C., I worked for a mid-sized commercial door and hardware supplier. And there were a couple of big guys, a few guys our size, and some smaller guys, but we all kind of worked together. And everybody helped each other out. The big guys helped out the little guys and the middle guys, and the little guys helped out the big guys with labor and stuff like that. And the biggest company up there was this company, I don't mind saying the name, company called Swing and Door. And they tried to get real big. and they started bidding work all over the country. They bid a huge hospital job in Chicago, and everybody else in D.C. was like, this is a big mistake. You don't want to do this. They were like, nope, we're going to get this job, and we're going to go nationwide. They got the job, and they severely underbid it, and then they had supply issues on it, and it put them under. And you'd think, in a nice big market like the D.C. Baltimore area, you'd think when one of the big guys goes under, it's going to be great for the smaller guys. It wasn't. It was a nightmare because they ended up with all these big jobs in the D.C. area that were half finished with contractors scrambling to get other people to come in and fill the void, and to fill the void under budget, and it became a nightmare, and it hurt. That big company going under hurt every other company, and that's what happens if a country like Venezuela goes completely under. It's not going to take the world down, but the world's going to feel it big time. The world economy is going to feel it big time.
Yeah, no, and I completely agree. Sorry, I kind of got sidetracked because I've been seeing all this interesting discussion today. Everybody's freaking out because apparently President Trump appointed a lesbian to the Equal Opportunity Commission.
Yes.
I'm all like, man.
Well, one that I mean, honestly, she's very pro-gay marriage, which is fine with me, but she's very anti-religion.
Yeah, I mean, but here's the thing. I mean, this is another one of those things where, yeah, a lot of his base is looking at him right now going, what the hell did you just do? But this was a masterful stroke for Trump because they just took a big arrow out of his quiver. Because what has everybody been screaming this whole time? He's anti-gay, blah, 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 because of Pence. He just appointed a lesbian. How anti-gay could he be? Saying.
Well, yeah, but there's I guarantee you they'll find a way to spin it. I mean, just like, with them, with the left now saying stuff like, oh, look, everybody complained about Obama making relations building relationships with other world leaders, and now Trump's going to sit down with the little man from North Korea. You all are a bunch of hypocrites.
Oh no.
It's different. It's different. But see, it's not going to be good enough that he gets him to the table. They don't want him to get him to the table. They want to wait 4 or 8 more years and have their guy get him to the table. Nothing he does is going to be good, because anything he does good is bad because it's not one of their guys doing it.
Yeah,
that's where we're at now.
But, the whole thing about this is, and I put out a tweet similar to this, but it's funny because you accidentally said it the way that I implied it. We weren't necessarily that worried about Obama going to build relationships with other countries. We were worried about Obama making relations with other countries, as in spending time under the table with their leaders, with mouths in certain places. Because that's, and maybe if he hadn't done the whole apology tour thing and gone from country to country talking about how terrible we are and how he was going to make everything better, maybe we wouldn't have been so put off by the idea of him meeting alone with people. Because, look, I don't necessarily have an issue with the president meeting with a foreign power if necessary, especially when we're talking about something like possibly being able to take a major agitator out of the equation. I don't know what Un's going to ask for, but the simple fact that he's at least willing to come to the table speaks volumes. I mean, you've got folks that despise Trump that are sitting back scratching their heads right now thinking, oh my God, if he can make this happen, he's going to go down as one of the best presidents in history, and there's not a damn thing we can do about it.
That's right. And he's, again, we touch on this a little bit on every show. You and I were not big fans of this presidency coming into play. But the left can keep screaming all they want, and the media can keep screaming all they want. He's not doing a bad job. By far. Yeah, he's not doing a bad job. He had a pretty darn good first year.
Dude, okay, so let's put this in perspective. If Barack Obama had the first year that Donald Trump has had, they would already be commissioning to put him on Mount Rushmore.
Absolutely. Barack Obama did not have a very good first year as president.
He didn't have a very good 8 year as president, if you want my opinion. But some were better than others, but none of them were ever very good.
He did. This is the thing. He did everything for himself, and he had a base that absolutely adored him, so they were for anything he did for himself. He didn't even do it for his base. I mean, as long as it came out of his mouth, that's what they wanted. He didn't necessarily do what they wanted when they elected him. It was just anything he said that he was going to do, as far as his base was concerned, that's what the country needed.
Pretty much.
He couldn't do wrong in their eyes. And there's the difference. Now, I'm not saying, yes, there are the Trump faithful that, by God, everything he does is just great. But it's really not a huge, base like that he has. Everybody else will sit there and say, yeah, he's doing good. Oh, what did he just do? And I had it happen to me the other day. I had somebody, I won't name names on this one. Somebody just, basically saying, you can't judge him on this, and you can't judge. Why? Why can't I? I'm the first one to say, hey, he did a great job on that. Why can't I say, maybe he should?
Yeah.
Because it's not helping the cause. What cause? What cause am I helping or not helping? All I care about is the direction of the country. That's all I care about. The direction that I feel the country needs to move in. If he's doing something that isn't, as far as I'm concerned, isn't taking the country in that direction, I'm going to say something about it. I don't understand why everybody has to be in this binary mindset. You either love everything Trump does or you hate everything Trump does, and you can't be in the middle. I don't understand why.
And those of us in the middle are watching the outsides going, what the hell's the matter with you people? That's like the other day when he was, when he said what he said about, as far as I'm concerned, I think we should take the guns first and due process second. I was like, no. I mean, I was all over him for that for days. And I still, if they ever get to the point where they're like, we're going to find a way to make sure that you guys can basically just have your guns yanked and then you got to figure out the rest of it later. that will never be okay with me. Because the problem that we have, because let's say for the sake of argument, that we decide, if we can verify that somebody is mentally ill, then we're going to be able to pull their guns away, figure out the rest of it later, and then have them have some sort of a process to get their weapons back. First of all, that wouldn't be a due process, because as you've mentioned before, that wouldn't be due process, it would just be a process. But at the same time, the goalpost can be moved so easily about what mental illness is. Because 40 years ago, if you were gay, you were mentally ill.
Well, that's it. I mean, that's what worries me with the whole mentally ill aspect of this is where are the guidelines going to be set? Because, there's people saying that, people with PTSD, even if it's just temporary, they shouldn't be allowed to have firearms. Okay, well, then you just described probably somewhere between 50 and 70% of the police in this country. So you're basically saying that the police can't have guns. And then obviously you're describing a huge chunk of anybody in the military that's served in the Middle East. So you're saying, here you go. here's a full automatic weapon. We want you to go over there and we want you to be in wartime. And then when you come back, we're going to take all of your guns from you and you can't protect your family. You know, that's the problem with this. I mean, there needs to be some standards set. And I think they can be set without even really setting them. I mean, it's quite obvious that this kid that shot up the school in Florida had issues. I mean, when the issues are reported to the sheriff's department and the FBI and nothing's done about it, and the kid has been banned from the school and nothing's done about it, there's a problem there. I mean, it's telling me that it doesn't matter what they put in place. It's not going to help anything. I mean, NICS needs to be fixed. I mean, it's quite obvious. You can't have a system to do a background check if agencies aren't reporting felonious behavior to the system. Then what's the point of the system? It kind of throws a background check right out of the water.
Pretty much.
You know, if a guy that has a felony and a domestic abuse conviction can walk into a sporting goods store and buy a couple rifles, there's a problem. Your own system isn't working. You know, they want more laws in place, and they want to ban this, and they want to ban this. Well, what they have isn't working is the problem. The problem is the stuff is already there. It just isn't working.
Yeah,
no. You know, I mean, if a government agency isn't going to report felonies, then the system's not going to work. It's not even really a flaw in the system. It's a flaw in the reporting to the system. The NICS system works, but the information has to be in there.
Yeah, and that's the part of this that I guess I truly don't understand, because, you know, this all started as, you know, we have to make background checks better. We have to fix the system. I was with them at that point, because this is now basically twice that system has failed us in recent months. But now we have the same people that are telling us that they don't want to take away our guns are now trying to pass legislation that would ban pretty much every semi-automatic weapon on the market. And then they're talking about forced confiscation buybacks like they had in Australia. You can't tell me out of one side of your mouth that you don't want my gun, and then out of the other side of the mouth try to pass legislation to take it. Because I've got news for every single one of you. I don't care what this brands me. If you come try to forcibly take my gun, you're going to have to forcibly take my gun. Period.
Exactly. You know, but I've made the point before, too, is what guns?
Well, that too.
I mean, honestly, what guns? You know, then that brings up another point. Then they say, well, then we need a registry.
No, we don't.
You know, and we had our favorite Amish buddy on a few weeks ago, and I was talking to him about this, and he brought up some points. He said in some ways he wouldn't be against a registry. And he made some good points about it, because things a registry could do is, if you had a nationwide registry and you made a nationwide registry a law, then you could have nationwide reciprocity. That's a thought. You know, that's the way, and his argument was that's kind of the way Canada is. Canada has a registry, and, you know, for as liberal as Canada can be, and talking to some people that they have some strict gun laws, but once you're registered as an owner and your firearms are registered, the gun laws actually become kind of lean. And I'm not saying I want that. A registry scares me, because a registry is then when they throw in the buyback or forced confiscation, and then they know you have them. They know what you have. They know you have them. That's a problem. But there are some good points to be made for it, but in the meantime, there is no registry. In the state I live in, a registry is illegal. It's illegal for a town to have a registry in my state. And like I said, what guns? I don't have any guns.
So, since we somehow inadvertently wound up back on the gun topic, I have a couple of quick points to add to that. Then it's probably about time to take a break. So, the funny thing is, if you look at the numbers overall and you put everybody in the mix, the United States is third in murders throughout the world. But if you remove certain cities, say Chicago, Washington, D.C., St. Louis, Detroit, New Orleans, we then become 189th out of 193 countries in the entire world as far as our murder rate goes. Funny thing that all of those cities have in common is they all have very strict gun control laws. And yet those...
And almost all of them have been Democrat-ruled for decades.
Well, yeah, that's that too. So there's another little interesting tidbit. There is, and I don't have it in front of me, but I'm pretty sure the name of the town is Kennesaw, Georgia. So it's one of the only towns in the country where they actually have a law on the books that if you live there as a homeowner, you have to legally have a firearm in your home. They don't strictly enforce it, so nobody's going to come knock on the door and try to take you to jail if you don't have a gun. But the funny thing is, since they passed that law, and it's been since, I believe, 1988, their crime rate is 2% of the national average. They've had one murder in 6 years. Because you don't know who the hell's got a gun and who doesn't. Tell me
that's right. I mean, it's just like there, a stat that I love because I lived there when it was passed. When the state of Virginia passed concealed carry, in the first year after they passed concealed carry, violent crime in the state dropped 40%. That's a lot. 40%. Because even most criminals aren't stupid. All of a sudden, the criminals are like, maybe I shouldn't mug people anymore because now they could be armed.
Yeah, Wow, I think.
But that's the kind of stat that the gun sense people and Moms Demand in every town will ignore.
Well, yeah, because
they don't want you to know stats like that.
It doesn't fit their narrative, so they don't have a choice but to ignore it.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at Chicago basically has 10% of the gun murders in this country every year. One city in this entire country is responsible for 10% of the firearm murders.
That's crazy. All right, so we're going to take a really quick break. When we come back, we're going to keep the discussion going. This is Robinson and Wright right here live on KLRNradio.com. Stay tuned. Back in a few.
Well, I won't back down. No, I won't back down. You can stand.
Everyone loves liberty. Our rights come from God, not the government. So why are you letting other people tell you what's best for your health care? Exercise your freedom with Liberty Health Share. Liberty Health Share is a community of people who voluntarily share one another's medical costs. Liberty Health Share is founded on the idea that most people truly want to help one another. Healthcare sharing allows members to do just that as a true community that supports one another in times of need. Liberty believes people should make decisions for themselves and their families. Members are able to take back the freedom to make their own decisions about their healthcare. Freedom from guilt or doubt about how your money is used. You have the freedom to direct your healthcare, not to be dictated to by bureaucrats. Stop letting others tell you what to do and join a community of like-minded people. Exercise your freedom. Join Liberty Health Share and take back the control of your healthcare while helping those around you. Call Liberty at 855-58-LIBERTY. Again, that's 855-58-LIBERTY for more information, or you can check them out at libertyhealthshare.org. Again, that's libertyhealthshare.org.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq. Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is. If getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now. 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810. Again, that's 800-783-0810.
Welcome back, folks. This is Robinson and Wright. We're live right now on Friday night, March 9th, 2018, and we've been kind of all over the map. We started talking about tariffs a bit, but I have to admit, it's been one of those weeks, so I haven't been able to do much research on the topic. I just know the whole concept kind of scares the bejesus out of me, but the one thing that I've noticed lately is no matter how much the president freaks me out, normally he manages a way to find a way to reel things back in. So I'm hoping maybe he knows something that I don't, because after all, he's a millionaire. I ain't. I would like to be at some point in my life, if at all possible, because it would be nice to not have to go, oh, I don't have enough money to pay this bill today. How am I going to figure this out? What are we going to do tonight, Brain?
You were wrong, Rick. He's a billionaire.
Well, same difference, pretty much. Still more money than I'm ever going to see. Millionaire, billionaire,
yeah, the tariff thing, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it may not be anything that actually really happens. I mean, it is. It's moving along more than just him commenting the other day, but I don't know. We'll see.
Now, I saw some rumblings, and I'm trying. I don't want to give too much credence to them because it's just little snippets I've seen on social media. I'm trying to see if I can find some articles that are supporting this. But I've actually heard rumors that, based on the fact that he's talking about doing the tariffs, that there are some steel mills in Pennsylvania that are going to be hiring more people. Now, if that's true, that could be kind of cool, but I don't...
Yeah, it could. I mean, but what worries me about it is, okay, so the steel mills hire a bunch of people, but then if the price of steel skyrockets, then companies like me aren't selling as much, and it won't hurt us as much because we do so much service work and stuff like that, but if we're not selling as much, then our suppliers aren't selling as much, then they're not buying as much from the steel mills. So it's kind of a trickle down thing. But we'll see. I mean, it may not affect things. If it happens, it may not affect things as much as some people think it will. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what happens. But like I said, it's steel and aluminum are commodities. Commodities go up and down, and something like this, they go up and down on speculation. I mean, that can be the problem with something like this. Is it could be a false rise in price, but a rise in price is a rise in price.
Yeah, no, I mean, I completely agree. I just, again, my hope is that there's something going on behind the scenes that we're not aware of, and that somehow he's using the threat of tariffs to work out better negotiations or something. But I didn't have any idea that these tariffs wouldn't be impacting Canada or Mexico, so that may wind up helping us in the long run too, since we do get a lot of our aluminum and steel from there.
Well, I can put the way things can affect stuff worldwide. I can put something else into perspective. A few years back, I'd say probably about 13, 14 years ago, maybe even a little longer, when China was really booming on their building. China was using like 35% of the concrete in the world. And it skyrocketed the price of concrete here, which made no sense to me. The concrete was being produced here.
Whoa, my bad. I was trying to read something and I didn't realize it had a video. Sorry.
I mean, some of, concrete's another commodity, and you have some of the aggregate and the additives and everything in concrete, come from all over the world and everything else. But either way, when China was hoarding all of this concrete to do all of this building, concrete skyrocketed here and construction slowed down because people couldn't afford to build. People that may have put up a building said, man, we'll wait because concrete's way too expensive right now. But that's the way commodities work, is when it's kind of the opposite. You'd think there's so much of it being sold, the price should go down. Well, they look at it on a shortage basis as there's so much of being sold, we have to raise the price. It's just weird. I mean, weird stuff like that works. And that's not the same as a tariff, but it's kind of the same idea on how commodities work is when something drastic happens, it always raises the price.
Yeah, and
we have one country using like 30% of a certain commodity. It jacks the price up everywhere else because everybody's worried there's going to be a shortage.
Yeah, and I mean, that is entirely possible before this is all said and done. One thing that I definitely wanted to talk about, because there are some other things that are just starting to come out today. There have been more positive economic indicators that nobody's talking about yet again, because we're too busy talking about whether people should own big, scary black rifles. But the job numbers actually came out for February, and they were about 33% above where people expected them to be. We had over 300,000 jobs created for the month of February. African American unemployment is now at its second lowest point in history. Its first lowest being earlier this year, because there was a slight uptick in January. It's now on the way back down for February. Overall unemployment, now again, this isn't the U6 number, this is the doctored U4 number, and I know everybody hates that number, but it's still a downward trend, is now sitting at 4.1%, with more people, actually a record number of people re-entering the workforce for the month of February.
Imagine that.
But nobody's talking about it because, Trump's evil and he sleeps with porn stars.
Right. That's the important things in the world.
I mean, and here's the thing. As a Christian and as somebody that tries to hold myself to a certain standard, I understand why you might not necessarily like having a president in office who may or may not have had an affair on one porn star that he was married to with another porn star 11 years ago. But what the hell does that have to do with the price of steel in America?
Nothing.
I mean, look, he wasn't president yet. Did he have an affair? Maybe. Was he president yet? Was he anything more than a rock star, reality TV star, public figure dude at that time? No. So, of course, he was probably doing things that we never want to know about. Because I personally don't want to ever think about Donald Trump having sex, no matter who it's with. But at the same time, you know, it's not like it was Bill Clinton who was getting, you know, his humidor serviced in the Oval Office. It's not like Bill Clinton, who has had apparently more than one romp while married, while a politician, that may or may not have been consensual at the time. So, I mean, yeah, let's please continue to talk about the man that we now have who was president, who's done all of these bad things before he became president, yet you guys will forgive the man who did tons of bad things both before, during, and after his presidency.
Right. Yeah, and remember, Bill Clinton's entire professional career, he was literally a public servant.
Exactly. But that's my point, you know, because now we even have the never Trump side of the conservative folks saying, well, Hillary would be a better choice than Trump. Really? So you'd rather have somebody that enabled her husband to rape people as president instead of a guy that had an affair? That's what you're telling me? That's what your holier than thou stance is? You'd rather guarantee that we have somebody in the White House that wants to kill babies? Because, you know, whatever my personal stance is on immigration, or not abortion, sorry, and I understand it is currently the law of the land, but I personally believe that is murder. So you're telling me that because you dislike Trump, because he's brash, he's rough around the edges, he doesn't have a filter, and he may or may not be able to keep his pants zipped up, you would rather have someone who was complicit in the murder of 4 American citizens in Benghazi as our president right now. If that's your perspective, you've lost your perspective.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, the whole never Trump thing, and I guess at one point you and I called ourselves Never Trump, but you know, that kind of ended once he was the nominee.
Well, I see. See, it changed. See, for me, Never Trump was different, because with me, Never Trump meant I ain't never gonna vote for Trump, and I didn't. I didn't vote for him in the primary. I didn't vote for him in the general. I kept my word. As a matter of fact, I was so ticked off at the Republican Party, I'm now a libertarian, even though I can't stand them either, and I helped to get them on the ballot in Oklahoma. Because of the fact that I really am starting to think that we need better choices. Because no, Trump is not the perfect guy for the job. But there is nobody who's a perfect guy for the job. If you go back and you look at the unwhitewashed history of everybody that's been president, how many of them have had affairs while they've been president? Almost all of them.
Yep.
Much less before.
I mean, I even see it. I mean, I saw it today. I see it on social media, but somebody that used to be what I'd call a friend, I mean, I guess a friend. I mean, a friend to the point where I would talk to her in direct message and stuff like that, posted something saying, we need another Twitter purge. And I said, oh, that's great. You know, plenty of the last 2 purges, plenty of legitimate conservative accounts were lost because of the purge. And she was like, well, you know, it doesn't matter. It's time. We got to get rid of the bots. She calls herself a conservative, you know, but she's a never Trump conservative. But she doesn't care, because anybody that in any way whatsoever that agrees with Trump, she thinks they should be off Twitter. So you're not a conservative now. You're just a typical bubble progressive that doesn't want anybody around unless they think exactly like you do. That's where these people have gone. You know, and it does, I mean, in a way, in a sense, it kind of worries me about the next election. I mean, not even 2018, but 2020. I mean, these people, I really think there's people out there that they will not vote for Trump just because he's Trump. He could We could go into 2020 in the best shape we've ever been in and everybody prospering, and they will not vote for Trump because he's Trump.
And I've had people that have told me that. Point blank, they don't care if we have GDP at 25%, unemployment numbers are better than they've ever been, the economy's booming, and everybody's doing great. They will not vote for Trump just because he's Trump.
Yep.
That's bad. Because I have to, just to be completely honest, if Barack Obama had had the first year so far that Donald Trump has had, and had continued to string along years like that in his first term, I probably would have voted for him second term.
Yeah.
Because it's not about the letter behind the guy's name. It's not even necessarily if I agree with even 60% of their policies sometimes. It's are things moving in the right direction? Because here's the difference with Donald Trump. While you're shouting everything down that he does, and yeah, I mean, lots of people are ticked off about the lesbian that he appointed today, whatever, I'm not going to have that argument with you. Because as far as I'm concerned, unfortunately, whether we like it or not, that ship has sailed. But the simple fact of the matter is, for everything that he does that makes us go, huh? He's doing about 10 or 12 other things that are pushing everything in the right direction in baby steps, and that's the way we have to move things now. We have gotten to the point in this country, especially as conservatives, where we think it's got to be all or nothing. I mean, the funny thing is we talk about this entitlement society that has to have everything the way they want it right now. And that's what a lot of us have become, even on the conservative side of things. We have to have the perfect candidate that ticks off all the boxes, and they're going to be able to fix everything that's wrong within the first 3 months, or they just suck at their job and we need somebody else.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, like I said earlier in the show, you've got the segment of the country that is Trump can do no right, and the segment of the country that Trump can do no wrong, and then people like us in the middle.
Yeah, I actually left a Facebook group the other day because of that very thing. I was in a rather large group called Facebook Conservatives, and all it had turned into was a virtual civil war. You had the Trump is the devil folks lining up on one side, and the Trump is the second coming folks lining up on the other, and all they were doing was posting memes trashing each other and then arguing about it. And I finally said, you know what, I'm done. I'm over it.
What's the point? Who needs that in their life?
I was like, I didn't even vote for Trump, but I will tell you this. I'm actually trying to find ways to engage with groups and get involved in local things and even non-local things so that I can find a way to continue to make things better, because for the first time in a long time, I feel like in some ways we're actually moving in the right direction. And whether you like Trump or not, he's largely responsible for the fact that some things are starting to move in the right direction. So while you guys sit here and keep telling everybody that either he's Satan or he's Jesus, I'm out. I'm going to keep fixing things. Y'all have a great life. God bless. And I left, but I forgot to turn notifications off. I really wish I would. I would have remembered to turn notifications off, because I immediately wanted to jump back in the group, grab somebody by the throat, and just throttle them. Because the very first thing that got posted on that right after I left was, "You're no different than all the people in 1933 Germany that thought Hitler was going to do great things for Germany and went along with him just because he was president." I'm sorry.
That rhetoric is getting really. That
1939 Germany,
really
not
old.
1933, but still, and that's the thing. And this is the thing that still completely floors me, because let this part sink in. Going back to the gun grabber thing for a second, the same people that keep trying to tell me that Trump is Hitler want Trump to take all the guns. What? How can you reconcile the schizophrenia that is going on between the Never Trump conservatives, the Never Trump liberals, and just the flat, plain-out crazy liberals right now? Because they don't even understand what it is that they're saying. Trump is Hitler. He's going to get all of us killed, but give him all your guns.
Yeah. Well, and not just the Never Trump conservatives, but then you look at how unhinged people on the left are. I mean, people like Michael Ian Black.
Oh, I thought you were gonna mention the comedian chick who posted a picture of Hillary and said that she got a picture with herself and the president on International Women's Day.
Yeah, Kathy Griffin.
Oh man, those people make me laugh. I know I shouldn't laugh at their pain, but the fact that they're so delusional that we have people that are like, anytime Hillary Clinton comes on president or comes on the TV, I grab my 6-year-old son, I hold him up to the TV and say, "This is the rightful president of the United States, not the orange-haired buffoon." Yeah.
And then you have Rosie O'Donnell. I mean,
Rosie.
You talk about completely and totally unhinged. I just, I don't know if you saw it the other day on Twitter. She actually unblocked Dana Loesch.
Oh yeah, she did long enough to get into another pissing contest with her, and then blocked her again.
And then blocked her again. I mean, and it was funny because Dana said something about it, and then Rosie responded to her and said, "I'm here, Dana," and Dana just said, "Oh, hi, Rosie," and then within like 2 tweets, Rosie blocked her again.
Nice. Well, that's because Rosie was trying to, for everybody that was about to start mass reporting her, Rosie was trying to prove she didn't have Dana blocked. Because, tweeting somebody behind a block is actually a violation of Twitter terms of service. Just saying.
They're not going to do anything to Rosie.
Yeah, not to Rosie.
She did actually get locked out of her account last year, or not last, well, yeah, I guess it was last year, but just a few months ago, for telling Ben Shapiro to suck her D.
Scary. Now, oh man, I'm glad the show's almost over because I literally about lost my dinner on that one. I had another point I was gonna make. Damn it! Now I can't. I hate you. Where's the brain bleach? I know it's here somewhere. It was Marina Sirtis. So that was my major disappointment. You know what? I'm used to people like Rosie O'Donnell being total tools, but I'm tired of people that I looked up to in my childhood turning out to be completely namby-pamby milquetoast morons. So Marina Sirtis the other day, who, for those of you who don't know, played Counselor Deanna Troi on Star Trek The Next Generation and various Star Trek films. And actually, I really, really, really liked her as an actress. And I like the characters that she's played, and I like a lot of the voiceover work that she's done. Of course, now she's kind of hit the realm of, nobody really knows who I am anymore, so I'm basically relegated to doing voiceover work. But she's still fairly well known on Twitter. So she quote tweets Dana the other day, because, Dana, anytime she's got somebody that's being smarmy with her, her standard comeback is usually to quote tweet them and just say, "God bless." So Marina Sirtis, who plays an empath on Star Trek The Next Generation, by the way, comes back, quote tweets Dana and says, I would say God bless you, but we both know that God isn't going to bless you because you are putting guns over the lives of our children. And it was worse than that. I don't have it in front of me. I'm not reading the whole thing because it honestly made me mad enough that I went on like an NRA tweet storm for like 20 minutes. But it disappoints me to no end because I pay you people's salary by either buying the products that sponsor your shows or by paying for the tickets for you to entertain me, not to lecture me. Stop telling me that because I think that it's okay for people to own guns that I'm a flippin' terrorist. There are now, thanks to this hysteria, 5.5 million members of the NRA. If we were terrorists, y'all would be dead.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that to be mean. That is not a threat. It is not a promise. It is not an implied attack. It is a fact. There are 5.5 million of us that are well-trained, well-armed, know how to use guns. We don't hide in closets gnashing at our teeth anytime anything bad happens. So if we were the problem, you would know because we would be the only ones left.
Exactly. And then if you just go to straight up gun owners, and there aren't this many gun owners, but if you go to just guns owned in this country, 300 million guns owned in this country?
Actually, that
literally, if we were all called to arms, we would be by far the largest standing army in the world.
Actually, that number from some of the things that I've seen is at least 3 to 5 years out of date. It's the number that everybody throws around is like 350 million guns, I think. But by all accounts, judging for population growth, etc., and probably guns that people have that nobody knows about, kind of like all of mine that are quote-unquote in a pawn shop, we're probably closer to about 550 to 600 million guns in this country.
Right.
So, but anyway,
I think I saw a stat. I saw a stat somewhere that said that all of the registered hunters in Wisconsin would be the second largest standing army in the world.
And that's one state. Let that sink in.
Yeah.
All right, so we are officially just about out of time. The funny thing is, and I actually think I will probably do this probably either tomorrow or Sunday. Before anybody starts yelling at me about it, it's not going to be a sponsorship thing. I'm not going to get paid to do it, but I think, going to turn some of my I am the NRA tweets into spots for the NRA. I'm going to give them free airtime, because if you guys are going to come after them, I'm going to make sure that we have an organization that exists to help people understand that guns are not the enemy. Guns are tools, and you need to understand them, you need to respect them, and you need to know how to use them so that if something, God forbid, happens, there are things that you can do. Because you can demonize the NRA all you want, but the fact of the matter is, if I, as somebody that spent almost 15 years of my life, all told, standing behind a badge, carrying a gun, had been at that school in Florida, you can damn well bet that I wouldn't have been cowering behind a cruiser or hiding behind a set of steps, because I would have been trying to do something. I know at least a half a dozen NRA members personally that have said the same thing to me, because we understand what it means when we choose to carry a weapon, whether we are on duty or off. That means that we understand that if it comes down to it, we are possibly the last line of defense and your last chance to go home if it comes to it. And that means even you, Rosie O'Donnell, if it came to it, I would take a bullet for you if need be. You, Marina Sirtis, while you demonize the NRA and talk about how we want all of the children dead, we would stand up for you if need be. Because that's what we do. I took an oath years ago. That oath doesn't expire even if I'm not in the uniform anymore and I'm not actively carrying a badge. That oath still matters. And it will matter until the day that I die. The fact that there are so many of you out there that seem to have forgotten that we are human beings first is terrifying to me. Because I would never, even if you guys have some views that make me want to cringe and make me want to rip my hair out. But at the end of the day, if we were in the same place and somebody was attacking you, I would be one of the first people standing up to defend you, even if they were attacking you for something that you said that I hated, because you have a right to say it, even if I don't want to hear it. That's the difference between us and you. You want to silence everybody that you disagree with. You want to shout them down to the point where they go away, they hide in a corner, and they don't say anything anymore because it makes you feel better. I don't care that you say the things that you say. I will talk to you about them, I will engage you about them, and I will point out your hypocrisy, but I will never shout you down to the point where I try to make you go away. Because you are entitled to your feelings, you are entitled to your thoughts when it comes to guns, no matter how terribly naive they are. Sorry. I had to get that off my chest.
No, that's okay. And since you bring that up real quick, I don't know if you saw it, but the 2 city SWAT officers that went against orders and went into the school at Parkland
and then got
have been suspended.
Yeah,
they've been suspended for going into the school.
Well, I haven't seen their names, but guys, in case you're listening, because I know sometimes we get some random folks tuning in, if you happen to hear this and you're either one or both of those officers, I would have done the same thing. So kudos to you.
Absolutely. Now, you brought it up, so before we go, I'll let you mention it really quick. We had a kind of a mutual Twitter friend of ours that had some big news this week.
Oh, yes. For those of you that... actually, I forgot we were going to mention him, so I'm glad you said something. I got riled up and forgot about the good news. All right, so, we're about to put a lot of stereotypes to bed here because, all conservatives despise gay people. I actually have lots of friends that are gay. One of them, actually, I consider him a friend, even though we basically just really talk on Twitter. Chad Felix Green actually got married this week. So I want to take a second just to say, and we've kind of done this on pretty much every show that I've been on this week, mainly because, you know, he's a great guy, awesome follow. If you've not followed along with him for a while, I do recommend that you do so. The guy has been through some both amazing, horrifying, and terrifying things, and yet he's still come out very, very positive on the other side of all of those things. So he's an inspiration. I want to wish him and his new husband many, many happy years. I've seen pictures of you two together. I've seen straight couples that don't look nearly as happy as you guys did on your wedding day, so mazel tov.
Absolutely.
All right, so on that note, we are officially overtime, so why don't you remind folks where it is that they can hang out with you now that you're in Twitmo?
Yeah, I'm suspended again, but you can find me on Twitter now. My handle is @TeedRightOff. That's TeedWrightOff. I don't know, haven't appealed my account yet. I'm sure I will if I can figure out their new appeal process, which they like to keep changing up so that you can't figure it out. But in the meantime, that's where you can follow me, see me, watch me, I don't know, say something else to get suspended again.
Watch me call somebody else a penile muppet and get suspended.
Yes, apparently, I mean, I'm not positive, but there's a good chance that I got suspended for that. It's okay. It's okay to tell Dana Loesch that her children should die and call her the C word and everything else. That's fine. But, gee, don't call anybody a D-Muppet.
Oh,
that's bad.
That's
bad. That hurts people's feelings.
Let's not forget, you can also retweet a snuff film with Dana looking like she's being murdered at the end of it, and that's perfectly okay too. All right, and you can follow along with me at Radio Host Rick. You can also shoot me an email if you're old school at rick@klrnradio.com. On that note, folks, we are out because I have to get up early to do editing for the West Coast folks, and I want to get some sleep. So we will talk to you soon. I will be back. Actually, I'll be over on CRN Digital Talk tomorrow night, 10 Eastern, 9 Central, 7 Pacific, and Sunday night, and then I will be back with you Tuesday night right here on the home station. So until we see you, take care. God bless. And remember, gun ownership is not a privilege. It is a right, no matter what the left wants to try to tell you. Yes, you know who you are, and you said it backwards, you dumbass liberal douche. We're out.
Michael Ian Black.
Well, I won't back down. No, I won't back down. You can stand me up at the gates of hell, but I won't back down. No, I'll stand my ground.
I hate this place. Nothing works here. The medication's don't work. I've been here for 7 years.